Neighbor, have you ever taken a bite of a perfectly ripe pineapple, golden, juicy, sweet enough to stop you in your tracks, and wondered, could I grow something this good right at home? Most people think that's impossible. But the truth is, even if you only have a small patio, a sunny balcony, or just one bright corner in your backyard, you can absolutely do it. And once you learn how to start from a simple pineapple top, you'll be surprised by how easy and how rewarding the journey can be. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire A to Z process of growing pineapples at home, starting with how to choose a healthy pineapple top, how to clean the base properly, how to root it in water, and how to plant it in the right-sized container. We'll go over how to care for the plant as it grows, how to follow the flowering and fruiting stages, and finally, I'll share the simple secret that allows one pineapple plant to give you multiple harvests without starting over. All right then, neighbor. If you're ready to turn a humble pineapple top into a golden fruit of your own, let's dig in. Neighbor, before we jump into the hands-on steps, let me tell you why growing pineapples in containers is one of the smartest, and honestly, one of the most enjoyable things you can do in a small garden. First, you don't need a tropical climate or a big backyard. A lot of people imagine pineapples only growing in places like Hawaii or Florida. But the truth is, pineapples are much tougher than they look. They handle cool temperatures surprisingly well. And when you grow them in containers, you can simply bring the pot indoors whenever the weather turns cold. That makes pineapple growing possible almost anywhere, even in states with snowy winters. Second, pineapples require far less maintenance than most fruit plants. You don't have to water them every day, you don't have to prune them constantly, and you don't need special equipment or fertilizers. Once the plant is rooted and settled in its container, it practically takes care of itself. Think of it as a slow and steady investment. You give it a little attention here and there, and months later, you're rewarded with one of the sweetest fruits you'll ever taste. And that brings me to the third reason: flavor. Pineapples grown at home taste dramatically better than anything you'll find at the grocery store. Store-bought pineapples are harvested early, while still green, so they can survive shipping. But when you grow your own, the fruit ripens fully on the plant. It develops a fragrance, a sweetness, and a depth of flavor that's almost shocking the first time you taste it. It's the kind of pineapple that makes you wonder why you ever bought one from a store. So even if you're working with a tiny space or just starting out as a gardener, pineapples are a perfect choice. They're simple, forgiving, beautiful to look at, and the reward at the end is worth every bit of patience you invest. Neighbor, the journey truly begins long before you plant anything. It begins the moment you pick up a pineapple at the store. Choosing the right top will determine how fast your plant roots, how strong it becomes, and even the size of the fruit it produces later. So let's slow down and choose wisely. When you look at a pineapple, don't focus on the fruit first. Focus on the crown. You want leaves that are firm, upright, and richly green. Avoid crowns with brown tips, mushy leaves, or a dried, brittle appearance. One quick test I always trust is gently tugging the center leaf. If it slips out with light pressure, the pineapple is ripe and the crown is alive and ready to grow. If the leaf pulls out too easily or feels slimy, choose another fruit. That crown won't root well. When you've found the right pineapple, it's time to remove the top. Hold the fruit firmly, twist the crown, and it will detach cleanly. If twisting feels awkward, cut the top off instead. Just make sure you leave about 1 inch, 2 to 3 centimeters of fruit flesh attached. Don't worry, we'll trim it off later. Now comes the most important part: cleaning. Pineapple flesh rots very quickly. And rot can travel straight up into the crown and kill the whole thing before it ever grows roots. Using a sharp paring knife, carefully shave away every bit of fruit until only the firm, white core remains. Work slowly. A clean base now will save you weeks later. Once the flesh is removed, start peeling away the lower leaves, usually 5 to 10 layers. Underneath those leaves, you'll reveal a ring of small brown bumps circling the base. These bumps are root primordia, the very beginnings of your future root system. The more of them you expose, the faster your crown will root. Before you do anything else, let the crown sit out and air dry for 24 hours. This allows the freshly cut surfaces to callus over, preventing rot during the rooting phase. It's a simple step, but it makes a world of difference. Once your pineapple top has grown roots, the next step is planting. And this is where accuracy really matters. Many gardeners think you can just stick the crown in the soil and call it a day. But doing it correctly now will affect the size of the plant, the sweetness of the fruit, and even how fast it produces. So let's slow down and do this right. When you cut your pineapple top, aim to leave about 1 inch, roughly 2 to 3 centimeters, of the fruit flesh attached. This gives the base enough structure for cleaning. After cutting it away from the fruit, gently trim all the remaining flesh until only the hard core is visible. Any leftover fruit will rot, and rot spreads fast. So take your time and clean it thoroughly. After cleaning, peel away 5 to 10 layers of the lower leaves, depending on the size of your crown, until you expose a full ring of brown root buds. This is the root zone, and exposing it gives the plant the best chance to root quickly. Before rooting, let the crown air dry for 24 hours. This helps seal the cut surface and prevents rot during the first days. After it dries, you can root it in water or soil. But since you want the simplest and most reliable method, let's stick with water. Place the crown into a glass so that only the bottom 1 centimeter touches the water. Keep it in bright, indirect sunlight. Change the water every 2 to 3 days. After about a week, tiny white roots appear, and after 3 to 4 weeks, the roots should be 5 to 7 centimeters long, strong enough for planting. Now let's talk about planting depth. When you place your rooted crown into the pot, bury it only deep enough so the bottom line of leaves sits at soil level. That usually means planting it about 5 to 8 centimeters deep. Any deeper, and the buried leaves may rot. Any shallower, and the plant may wobble and struggle to root. Once it's planted, water the soil thoroughly. Not a sprinkle. A deep watering until water drains from the bottom. This settles the soil around the roots and gives your pineapple a solid start. From here, neighbor, your pineapple is officially rooted in its new home and ready to grow. Once your pineapple is in its pot, the real growth begins. Pineapple care is simple, but a few details make all the difference. First, sunlight. Pineapples love sun, and the sweet fruit you're dreaming of depends on it. Aim for 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every day. If you live somewhere with intense heat, morning sun and afternoon shade work beautifully. If you live in a colder region, the plant will appreciate every bit of sunlight it can get. Watering is another key. Pineapples are drought-tolerant, but grow faster with steady moisture. Water 2 times per week in warm weather and every 10 to 14 days in cooler months. The rule is simple. When the top inch of soil feels dry, it's time to water. Never let the soil stay soaking wet. Pineapples hate that. Temperature matters too. Pineapples grow best between 18 degrees and 32 degrees, 65 degrees to 90 degrees. If nighttime temperatures drop below 10 degrees, 50 degrees, bring the plant indoors. You don't need to move it back and forth between day and night. Just bring it inside during cold spells and return it outside when warm weather comes back. Now, fertilizing. For the first month after planting, let the plant settle. Don't fertilize yet. After 4 to 5 weeks, begin feeding it every 2 weeks with a balanced liquid fertilizer such as 10 to 10. When the plant reaches 6 months, switch to a bloom and fruit formula higher in phosphorus and potassium, something like 4-6-8, or a tomato fertilizer. These nutrients help the plant prepare for flowering. As the months pass, the plant slowly becomes larger, stronger, and more upright. And then, one day, usually somewhere between 18 and 24 months, the center of the plant begins to rise. A thick purple spike emerges, the flowering stage. The flowers bloom row by row for about 2 weeks, and as they fade, the fruit begins to grow. From the first flower to a ripe pineapple usually takes 4 to 5 months. The fruit gradually expands, becomes heavier, and begins to turn yellow from bottom to top. When you can smell its sweet aroma from about a foot away, it's ready. And in this part, I'll guide you clearly through the flowering stage so you know exactly what to look for. Most pineapple plants need 18 to 24 months before they show the first sign of bloom. Then, almost unexpectedly, one morning you'll glance into the center and see a rounded, thick bud pushing upward. Unlike any new leaf you've seen before, this is the plant's first announcement that flowering has begun. Over the next 7 to 10 days, that central stalk rises slowly, carrying a small compact head at its top. Then, something beautiful happens. For about 12 to 14 days, each morning brings a new ring of tiny blossoms. Their petals are usually purple or reddish pink, and each one opens for just a single day. Row by row, from bottom to top, the entire head blooms. A quiet, delicate show that unfolds one layer at a time. This is the moment many gardeners never forget. And with a bit of patience, the real fruiting stage follows right behind. Once the last flower fades, your pineapple plant shifts all its energy toward building the fruit. The small head begins to swell and firm up, forming the familiar diamond pattern. From this point, fruit development usually takes 4 to 5 months. During this phase, your care becomes simple. Keep the soil lightly moist, give the plant 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, and use a fertilizer higher in potassium. Sunlight plays the biggest role here. The more sun the plant receives, the sweeter the final fruit will be. As the pineapple grows heavier, the stalk sometimes leans. That's completely normal. If you want, gently support it with a bamboo stake to help the plant hold its weight. Ripening happens gradually. Over 7 to 10 days, the skin changes from green to golden yellow starting from the bottom. At the same time, a deep, sweet aroma develops, strong enough to smell from about 1 foot, 30 centimeters, away. And when the fruit softens just a touch under your fingers, neighbor, that's the perfect moment to harvest. A homegrown pineapple is warmer, sweeter, and richer than anything you can buy. A reward that makes every month of waiting worth it. Neighbor, if you're growing a pineapple for the first time, I know you probably have a handful of questions swirling in your mind. Don't worry, you're not alone. Even experienced gardeners like me once stood exactly where you are now, wondering the very same things. So, in this section, let me walk you through the answers to the questions beginners ask most often. Why is my pineapple taking so long to grow? Because pineapples simply grow on their own schedule. They usually need 18 to 24 months before flowering. They're slow, patient plants, but once they bloom, everything speeds up. How often should I water my pineapple? Think less often, but deeper. Water once a week in warm weather, every 10-14 days in cooler months. Let the top inch of soil dry out before watering again. The tips of my leaves are turning brown. Is my plant dying? Not at all. Brown tips are usually caused by low humidity or tap water with minerals. If you can, switch to filtered or rainwater. The plant will be just fine. Can my pineapple survive winter? Absolutely, as long as you bring it indoors before temperatures drop below 50 degrees Celsius. A sunny window is all it needs. My plant still hasn't flowered after 2 years. What should I do? You can give it a gentle push. Place a ripe apple in the center of the plant and loosely cover the entire thing with a plastic bag for 3 to 4 days. The ethylene gas helps trigger blooming. Can one pineapple plant make more than one fruit? Yes. After harvest, look for slips growing near the fruit and suckers growing from the base. These can grow into new plants in 12–18 months, much faster than a crown. Do I need to prune or cut old leaves? Only remove leaves that are fully brown and dry. Leave green leaves alone. They're feeding the plant. Neighbor, everything I've shared with you today comes from years of trial, error, and a whole lot of patience, all distilled into the clearest, simplest steps I could give. These are the lessons I wish someone had handed me when I grew my very first pineapple. And if you ever want a follow-up video on how to multiply your plant using slips and suckers, the method that turns one pineapple into a whole family of them, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to walk you through it. Before you head out, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that little bell. Your support doesn't just help the channel. It helps this entire little gardening community grow stronger, one plant at a time. All right then, neighbor. Until our next garden adventure, take care, stay curious, and may your pineapple always grow golden.